Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest is sanctioned by the Board of Directors of the National Wrestling Alliance. It is for the NWA Wildside Junior Heavyweight Championship, and it is set for one fall. Introducing first, he comes to us tonight as the challenger from Chapel Hill, North Carolina, weighing in at 216 pounds, Brandon P. And ladies and gentlemen, introducing his opponent first, accompanied to the ring by his personal advisor. He is the only two-time Rookie of the Year in the history of professional sports, and he is the Commander-in-Chief of the Salvation Army, unrated Salvatore Rinauro. And introducing from Houston, Texas, weighing in at 217 pounds, he is the reigning Wildside Junior Heavyweight Champion, Fast Eddie.
Fast Eddie, a man who is Salvatore Rinauro, actually referred to as Rapid Edward, part of Sal's vain attempt at humor. All of his attempts are somewhat vain. But regardless, I was looking at the deal in store here this evening. It is an opportunity for Brandon P., an athlete who has made his name at NWA Wildside as well as Omega Pro Wrestling in North Carolina, as a tag team competitor of only the highest order. Matter of fact, as one part of Future Shock, he was Wildside Heavyweight Champion, as a matter of fact, and has been Wildside Tag Team Champion before. This is an opportunity for Brandon P. to get out of the tag team scene and perhaps be a singles champion, and it's an opportunity that I'm sure Brandon P. is not going to take very lightly here tonight.
Well, the weight limit here for junior heavyweight competition is 217 pounds. And Brandon P. was actually at 219 going into this matchup. Had the opportunity to speak with him before the show. He said he was actually on a rigorous diet in order to get a title shot. That's how bad he wants the singles career. He and Jeremy V have agreed to go their separate ways. They're still a team. They're still friends. They'll still call on each other if needed, but each man has to try his own thing. They won the tag team titles. Brandon P. now a two-time tag team champion. I guess he feels he's done all he can in that line of professional wrestling. Now moving forward to singles competition. But the man on the other end of the ring, Fast Eddie. Talk about night and day in the turnaround of a wrestling career. A guy who was considered a joke among many. A guy who had one of the biggest losing streaks in Wildside. The tutelage of Sal Rinauro came into play. He won the Wildside Junior Heavyweight title almost by accident, almost as a fluke. But since gaining that title, he has proven himself worthy of the championship. His performance in the ring has been stellar. His ability has improved. You can see a tremendous, tremendous amount of champion's integrity in Fast Eddie in the ring. Now his involvement with Rinauro, another story altogether.
That is, we can't afford to go into that one right now. That would be part of Psychology Today on another network. And a pair of atomic drops from Brandon P., followed up by a big drop kick. And the Wildside Junior Heavyweight Champion has decided to gather his wits, the few he may have left.
Eddie being consoled by his personal advisor. How long has it been since we've seen Rinauro in a wrestling match?
That has seemingly been a long, long time. As Salvatore Rinauro keeping his professional focus now on managing the career of Fast Eddie.
Oddly enough, he signed up to be in that big mega rumble for the #1 contender to the World TV title next week. Wait a minute! There you see Rinauro's involvement. Fast Eddie luring Brandon P. into chasing him around the ring. Rinauro was laying in wait there with a drop toe hold.
And unfortunately for Brandon P., he landed on a very bruised and battered left shoulder.
Shoulder's been injured for quite some time. It was initially injured by Tank, re-aggravated by Todd Sexton, and now he's been fighting through that for a couple of weeks now.
Mind you, if you're a professional wrestler worthy your salt in 2004, you're already wrestling hurt. And Brandon P., in his desperate plea to be taken seriously as a singles competitor, is putting his career on the line. Let's face it.
It's just a gutsy effort for him to even be in the ring at this point, but that's how bad he wants the junior heavyweight title. And those sacrifices are well known before any one of these men ever enters the ring, and that's why you have to respect them that much more
Actually,
as professional wrestlers.
Exactly, and I respect him that much more because Brandon P, he just wants to improve his craft. Yes, he's done everything as a tag team competitor here, but he wants to become a singles competitor to be truly worthy of championship material. And a Fast Eddie's not going to have any of it. Just pretty much destroying Brandon P. Pete gamely fighting back though.
Pete trying, but Fast Eddie is all over him. Goes for that clothesline there. There you see Fast Eddie calculating and takes down the injured shoulder. Locking in that Fujiwara very deep there, right on the shoulder socket.
And the only way out for Brandon P is to grab that bottom rope, and that in fact he's done.
Well, Fast Eddie liberally exercising that 5 count. Got every second he could of it.
And Eddie once again going for that shoulder.
Fast Eddie taking a diversion from his normal game plan, but it's what works here. Usually you see Fast Eddie's offensive point go to the back because it softens them up for the Fast Eddiest. Springboard and a kick right to the face by Eddie.
In all honesty, the weight of Brett had a pin attempt from Eddie, rather a nonchalant one, but didn't come up trumps there. That Fast Eddiest, though, I don't believe he's ever done it on a competitor quite with the weight of Brandon P. A roll-up for Brandon P. But only a 2 count. And a drop kick to the shoulder.
Fast Eddie knows where the attack is going tonight. He has been studying the tapes of Brandon P. Sal Rinauro. Say what you want about his goofy facade and the zaniness that he portrays out here while at ringside. I've said it before a million times. This guy's a snake in the grass. He knows what he's doing. He's very calculating. He is very sneaky and underhanded. He was exploiting that injury there by Brandon P. He told Fast Eddie knows where it's at, and look at the attack that he is going after.
Forgive me, but we talk about Salvatore Rinauro way too much, and I'm as guilty as some. Let's pay attention here to Fast Eddie, the Wildside Junior Heavyweight Champion, who is somehow now on the receiving end of some punishment from a very battered Brandon P. Clutching a very wounded shoulder. And P dropping an elbow on his bad arm.
And you could see the hesitation there as he came down from the elbow. He even tried to sacrifice his own legs and lower buttocks area there as he hit harder to avoid hitting with all the pressure on the elbow. It was a bad move on behalf of Brandon P.
That it is, but desperation sometimes makes for some interesting decisions you make along the way.
Fast Eddie charges in, but Brandon P finding it within him somewhere to fight back here, even with one arm, and he's actually swinging the bad arm.
I know, but Brandon P, he's not left-handed, he's in fact right-handed. That's the arm he uses. And wounded or not, it's going to get some use here this evening. And a shoulder tackle of all things on Fast Eddie. And a drop kick, and boy, Brandon P moving awfully slowly, dealing with an awful lot of searing pain, no doubt. Fists are flying to the head of Fast Eddie. Those punches, though, lack a lot of authority.
Fast Eddie definitely caught Brandon P low with that headbutt. Andrew Thomas actually looked like he was trying to check it out. It's bizarre for him to try to play by the rules. Wait a minute! Brandon P charged into the turnbuckle, climbed the ropes like a cat in a springboard leg lariat. Still not enough aggression on that pinfall. Fast Eddie kicks out easily.
A lot of the offensive firepower has been put out by Fast Eddie on Brandon P. Things look right now, I don't think it's going to be Brandon P's night. However valiant his effort is, Brandon P, frankly, is damaged goods. And even as damaged goods, a very credible performer in the ring. But I think there may just be too much damage on the part of the challenger here tonight.
Fast Eddie has him up in the fireman's carry position. Death Valley driver, usually he goes to the spine on that. You notice how he altered the landing? This may be all. No! How Brandon P kicked out of that, I'm not sure.
I'm not quite sure why Brandon P kicked out of it. Frankly, with all the damage he's received, maybe he should have just stayed down.
Really, the charge into the post there should have done him in. He's fighting on instinct here, and instinct alone.
And P slowly getting to his feet and seeing a Fast Eddie with his back turned.
Brandon P somehow lays him out with a front face pancake. And Rinauro right there for the distraction.
And Sal Rinauro claiming there's some tights pulled, but it seemingly seemed that Fast Eddie was down for a potential pin.
We all know there were no tights pulled there. That was a distraction by Rinauro. Plain and simple, Russian leg sweep from hell on the bum's shoulder.
And
good night.
P could not withstand anymore.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner, and still the NWA Wildside Junior Heavyweight Champion, Fast Eddie.
And our trainers in the back, I'll just go ahead and warn you, you're probably going to want to get ready because Brandon P is hurt.
You know, I just wonder if this match here we saw this evening between Fast Eddie and Brandon P would have been an entirely different affair if Brandon P walked down the ramp here at 100%. But again, as we pointed out, this was an opportunity that Brandon P wasn't going to squander regardless of a hurt shoulder, regardless of the pain he was enduring, regardless, as a professional wrestling athlete, you work under very unfortunate circumstances. This was an opportunity that Brandon P wanted to capitalize on, and he did not. And I think some severe damage has been done to both Brandon P and potentially his career.
Well, title shots are a rare opportunity, and when you get them, you got to try to get that opportunity and that chance to go to the pay window. But Brandon P could not do that tonight. Fast Eddie, your winner, and we got more Wildside after these brief commercial messages.